This might seem like a rather unusual place to start the programme, but I'm just taking a few precautions. This is the Dragon Fortune Mushan Tinyam Altar Company Limited, and this gentleman is performing a few routine blessings to make sure I don't run into any unexpected or unwanted snags. You see, this week, I plan to delve fearlessly into the supernatural world of the Chinese ghost story, the new wave of Hong Kong horror films that are perhaps the craziest, weirdest, scariest and funniest films these bloodshot eyes of mine have ever seen. And join us in part 2 when we'll be meeting another master of modern horror. Stuart Gordon, the man responsible for this classic low-budget horror movie, Reanimator.
It is taught.
Of course he's dead. The dosage was too large.
You killed him.
No, I did not. I gave him life.
Hong Kong is a city where superstitions, myths and fables are still a part of everyday life. In fact, the Chinese living here like to refer to themselves as human, while we, the Westerners, are called Guailos, which literally means devil man. But in the last 10 years, it's the cinema that's been obsessed with the spirit world. This is Blood Reincarnation from 1974, heavily influenced by the success of The Exorcist. It's considered to be the first of the modern Hong Kong horror films. And this is Mr. Vampire, undoubtedly one of the most successful. These hopping bloodsuckers proved to be so popular, Mr. Vampire has since enjoyed 3 sequels. And for weirdness, how about this, The Dead and the Deadly, in which star Sammo Hung is trying to get to the bottom of a murder mystery. Now, all of those films were made by different people, but there was one director I was especially keen to track down, a man called Tsui Hark. A couple of years ago, I saw a film called A Chinese Ghost Story. It was beautifully shot and featured a gorgeous flying ghost, some kung fu monks, and a vampire tree with a 400-foot tongue. Not the kind of movie you can see every day of the week, unless, of course, you're lucky enough to live here in Hong Kong. The film is full of stuff like this, a brilliant combination of ancient Chinese folklore and modern film techniques, the work of a man in love with film from an early age.
When we're like 12 years old or 13 years old, Sunday or Saturday, we kind of get together and said, you know, call home and said, we're making a movie now, so we are very busy, we're making a movie now, we're not going home tonight, so, you know, don't wait for us. So there are 3 or 4 of us, children or, you know, young people together and start planning for a script and now drawing storyboard and start shooting. Using different kind of camera. Sometimes we use a still camera to make storyboard, and that's the beginning of the whatever, you know, the hobby of making film.
What were the films actually like? What kind of subjects did you cover?
Well, the first one was magic performance. The second one was let me think. The second one is sort of a sci-fi film.
After attending film school at Texas University, Tsui returned to Hong Kong and has become one of the most influential directors in the Hong Kong industry, always initiating new trends. Today, he's on set directing a tough new political thriller called A Better Tomorrow 3, working around the clock to get it finished.
A lot of people just cannot catch up with the guy. I mean, working 20 hours a day, non-stop.
But Tsui is not only a director and producer, he also finds time to act in movies and teamed up recently with John Chung for a science fiction fantasy epic called ROBOFORCE.
People in the industry have very mixed views of him. They think he's a lovely, obnoxious kid, I think.
From the outset, Tsui's films have been markedly different in tone and style from other filmmakers. This is his second feature, We're Gonna Eat You. It's a kind of kung fu cannibal comedy, yet it was designed as a biting satire on the politics of mainland China.
Tsui at that time was I don't know how he described himself, but I mean, to the outsider, he looked like the typical degenerate, subversive Marxist with all kinds of dangerous lefty ideas, infiltrating the commercial film industry and trying to lead it down dangerous paths. I mean, a course that he consolidated in his third feature, Dangerous Encounters, also known as Don't Play with Fire.
Don't Play with Fire was Tsui's most overtly political film ever. Its allusions to the 1967 colonial riots outraged the authorities who banned it, and this, the final version, was substantially reshot and re-edited. But despite the controversy, it bombed at the box office. The first Tsui Hark film to really make an impact was Zoo Warriors of the Magic Mountain. After the lack of response to his early films, Tsui consciously set out to woo a mass audience by combining Hollywood-style special effects with a story that retained a distinctly Chinese flavour. Released in 1981, the film was to make a spectacular impact in Hong Kong, with audiences thrilled by Tsui's stylish effects.
That period of time, I was thinking about maybe we can learn special effect by using that project. That's why I went to Los Angeles and started looking for people who work in Star Trek, Star Wars, as well as that period of time is called Tron. Disney turned out a film called Tron.
Zhu, I think, really started special effects in Hong Kong. He's like the great-grandfather of special effects, because he introduced the idea of bringing in the expertise. You know, he said, okay, no problem. We go to Hollywood, we call up people, and we say, would you like to Hong Kong? Go to Hong Kong for 1 month. You're going to be working some, but it'll be fun because you get to work the people, you know the place. So we got a lot of very good people coming in from Los Angeles, and then they came and they stayed and they did their thing. He put all the students, art students, graphics guys, working with these guys, and when they left, the seed was sown.
Although he used Hollywood-style special effects, the film remains distinctly Chinese. Used here for comedic effect, the long eyebrows of this character are actually a traditional Chinese way of denoting wisdom.
Tsui Hark you could see as being the modern equivalent of one of those old Chinese storytellers. In Chinese traditional society, the storyteller would come to the village square and would sit there and tell these fantastic stories, which he learned by heart, probably from his father and his grandfather and his great-grandfather, and keep an audience enthralled. Well, Tsui is really the modern equivalent of that. He's the guy who comes and displays his wares in the village square, in this case, the movie screen, and he tells the old stories in a way that's designed to make them exciting, fresh, and new for the new generation.
Tsui has a distinctive directing style, using fast cuts to give his films an exhilarating pace and impact.
He used to be a cartoon artist. I mean, he loves comic strips. That's why in most of his films, you have a very fast tempo. It's too fast sometimes. He would say 5 frames out here, 5 frames out there, and it's making a very, very fast movement, like a comic strip.